What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to create a Pokedex with React. As you can already see in the screen that this is the Pokedex that we are going to create. So this is the boundary of the Pokedex. We are trying to make it look something like that, but maybe it's not exactly like the Pokedex. So as you can see that this is split into two parts. The left part is the list of the Pokemon. So we are considering the first 151 Pokemon which are fetched from the PokeAPI. We'll show you how it's done. And as you can see that these Pokemons, these are actually buttons. As you can see, by default, when the app starts, the first Pokemon, that is Bulbasaur is loaded in the detail page and its details. So basically, if you click on any other Pokemon, then the details of that Pokemon and the sprite image or the picture of the Pokemon comes up. So if you see that here is Charmander, if I click on Charmander, you can see that Charmander is loaded here. If I click on any other Pokemon like Butterfree here, you can see that the details of Butterfree and its picture has been loaded. So basically, that's what we are going to create. So the left side of the image will be the list of the Pokemons, and the right side will be the details of whatever Pokemon we click on. So let's get into it. And before we start, I want to ask you that if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll be notified immediately. So let's get started. Alright, so as you can see that VS Code is open. We will open up a terminal in the first place and we will create a React application. So we are already in the directory, as you can see that Pokedex. So we want to name our application as Pokedex. So we will write npx create React app. As we are already in the directory, so we will just put dot and let's see what happens. Alright, as you can see that we have the React application. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to delete some of the unnecessary files. So like we're going to delete setup tests, then report web vitals, logo, app test.js. So let's delete those. Alright, now let's go to the app.js and remove these. And also we will remove this and save. We will also go to the index.js and we are going to remove this part and these lines. Okay, we'll save it. Now let's just run our application and see what we get. Okay, so as you can see that we have got an empty application. So let's start coding. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on the app.js. The first thing that we're going to do is in app.js is we're going to change this function into a class. So we'll remove this right now and we're going to convert it into a class component. So first of all, let's import React and component. Class app extends component. We will have a render function, and inside that we will have a return and a div with a class name app. Okay, and let's go for h1 tag and type hello and check if it works. So if I refresh, you can see that we get the hello. All right, now let's go to the app.css and let's remove whatever is there. Save it, and let's go to the index.css and remove these. Now we are going to write our own CSS. So we're going to write asterisk box sizing, it's border box. Okay, then for the body we will have a margin for 0, we'll have a padding that is 0, and we'll have the font family that is a veneer, next, and sans serif. Okay, and finally h1, h2, h3, h4 and p. For these we have a margin of 0. Okay, let's save it. Now let's go to the app.js and create a constructor. We will have states as well, so we will write constructor super and this dot state. All right, let's save it. Okay, now let's go to the app.css and write the CSS for this. So it will be app, display will be flex, align items will be center, justify content will be center, width will be 650 pixels, the height will be 400 pixels, padding left will be 10 pixels, margin will be 50 pixel, auto, background color will be FE0065, and border radius will be 10 pixels, and box shadow will be 14 pixel, 45 pixels, RGBA, so zero, 18 pixels, 45 pixels, RGBA, 0, yeah, okay. All right, let's save it. Okay, so if I make this a little bit bigger, as you can see, this is what we have right now. Okay. All right, now we can close off these things. And let's go to the source. Let's create a components folder. Components. And inside that, at first, let's create an index.js. We will come to this later on. And now we are going to create another folder called PokeList. Inside PokeList, we will have index.js, and we will also have PokeList.css. Okay, at first in the PokeList, let's go to the index.js for the PokeList, and let's import React from React. Import PokeList.css. Okay, now const PokeList return section with the class name will be PokeList. Let's bring it in quotation. Okay, and close it. And we will have to export default PokeList. Save it. Okay. Now let's go to the PokeList.css and create the CSS file. So it will be PokeList. We will have a display of flex. Then we will have flex wrap. Justify content will be space around. Align items will be center. Width will be 50%. Height will be 80%. Padding will be 10 pixels. Margin right will be 10 pixels. Background color will be BFF 9FF. Box shadow will be inset 0, 0, 20 pixels. RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.5. Okay. And overflow, it will be scroll. Okay. Let's save it. Now let's go to the index.js for the components, and we will write export default as PokeList from PokeList. Let's save it. Okay, now let's go to the app.js, and before that let's close it first, and let's go to the app.js, and let's import PokeList from components. Okay, and instead of this hello h1 tag, let's remove this and let's write PokeList and save it. Alright, as you can see that we have got the PokeList, which is one part of the application, that is the left side as we showed in the first place, and when we create the detail view, this will be pushed to the left and the detail view will come on the right. So this is the base where we will work on. Now we're going to create the cells. So for that, let's go to the components again. Let's close these things first. Let's go to the components and create a new folder which is called PokeCell. And inside PokeCell, we will have an index file, index.js, and we will also have PokeCell.css. Okay. Inside the index.js for the PokeCell, let's start with import React from React and import PokeCell.css. Okay. Now const PokeCell. Let's make it an arrow function and return. As we said that the cells will be buttons, so we will return a button. Class name will be PokeCell, and let's close it. Alright, and finally export default PokeCell and save it. Now let's go to the PokeCell.css and create a CSS file. PokeCell. It's going to have a width of 120 pixels, a height of 120 pixels, then margin of 10 pixels, a background color of FFF, background repeat of no repeat, then border will be none, border radius will be 5 pixels, and box shadow, this will be 0, 2 pixels, 0, RGBA 0, 0.16. Okay, that will be all for this CSS, and let's save it. Alright, now the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to import this PokeCell in the PokeList. So let's go to the PokeList index and let's import PokeCell from PokeCell, and let's just write PokeCell. Let's copy 3 more and save. Alright, so as you can see that we got 4 cells. So these are the boxes, or we will, as you can see that these are actually buttons. So the Pokemon pictures, the images, or we should say the sprites, will appear here. And clicking on the Pokemon, you can see the detail. So let's work on that. Okay, so in PokeList, the index file of PokeList, we're going to use some hooks. So let's import those. After React, we will have usestate and useeffect, both of them. Okay, so inside the PokeList, let's write const Pokemon set Pokemon. This is usestate, and let's make it an empty array. Okay, let's close it so you can see. Now let's have the useeffect. Let's create a function here which is fetch data. This will be an async function, and arrow function as well. So at first we are going to fetch the data from the API, that is fetch, and inside that we will place the URL. So I'll just copy it and paste it here. Okay, as you can see that basically this is the API. If we search for this up to this, then we can find the list of Pokemons, but apparently the first 20 Pokemons come, and along with that there is a pagination that you can load more Pokemons and stuff like that. But if I put a limit, like as you can see that in the URL I have put a limit of 151, that means the total 151 Pokemon, that is the first 151 Pokemon will be loaded automatically without any loadings and stuff. So we're going to do it like that. Okay. Before fetch we need to have an await. Okay. Now let's get the data. So const data will be await response dot JSON. All right. Now we're going to create a list ourselves. This is solely my way of doing it, so I'm doing it. So let's write constant Pokemon list equals data dot results dot slice. We will slice from 0 to the data dot results dot length, and after slicing we will map. Here we will have items to items, and then we will have it flat. Okay, so as we have this now, let's set the Pokemon to the Pokemon list. All right. So right now, if we see, or if we console log the Pokemon list, or if we console log Pokemon, we will get the list of the Pokemon list. That is the 151 Pokemon. Okay, now let's call this fetch data. Okay. And as for useeffect, we want to load it once, not multiple times. So let's give an empty array here. All right. Now let's remove these Pokecells and let's write Pokemon dot map. We will have Poke class, and we will have the ID. For this we will return. We will have Pokecell, and the key will be ID, and the Poke class, this will be ID as well. Okay, so we are passing the ID with which we are going to capture the Pokemon data from this. Alright, so let's save it. So as we are passing this, we need to go to the Pokecell index.js here, or Pokecells index.js, this place, and as we are passing a prop, so we need to write Poke class. Here, what we are going to do is we are going to display the images of the Pokemons, that is the sprites of the Pokemon. So we will have an image tag. Let's close it first. Okay. The source of the image here, I'm going to copy the link. And I'm going to paste it here. Okay. If you can see the link here, basically this is the link of the Pokemon sprite, that is the image of the Pokemon. And by this, I already have a Pokeclass plus one.png. That means this Pokeclass is the ID that we are sending or we are getting from the Poke list, and plus one is for adding one to the index, so that is the actual ID of the Pokemon. And with this ID.png, we are going to get the image of the Pokemon. So if I save it, There you go. You can see the images of the Pokemon. As you can see, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, and so on. Okay, let's move on then. Let's close these for now, and now let's create the detail view. In components, we're going to create a new folder which is called detail view. Inside detail view, we will have index.js, and we will also have detail view.css. All right. So in the detail views index.js, what we're going to do is we're going to at first import React from React, and we're going to import the CSS, that is detail view.css. Okay. Const detail view. This is a narrow function. Okay. We're going to return. Let's have a section first with the class name detail view. Now let's have an image. Let's close it first. The class name will be sprite image. Then let's have a div with the class name data wrapper. Now let's have an h1 tag with the class name data name. And after that, let's have a p tag with the class name data card. Okay, let's have two more of these p tags. All right, let's save this. Okay, now let's go to the detail view.css and let's create the CSS for the detail views. Okay, so at first we are going to write detail view, and inside this we will have a width of 50%. We will have a height of 100%. Then a padding of 10 pixels. We'll have a background color of #df095e. Okay. Then after that, we're going to have a border top right radius that is 10 pixels, and we will also have a border bottom right radius. That will be also 10 pixels. Then we will have a display flex. Flex direction will be column, and justify content will be center. Okay. Now for the sprite image, let's have a width of 150 pixels, a height of 150 pixels, margin of 10 pixels, and auto. Background color will be 585858. Then the border will be 15 pixels, solid, and DE. And with that, the border radius, this will be 5 pixels, and the color will be 585858. Okay. So after the sprite image, let's write the data wrapper. The width will be 80%. The height will be 110 pixels. Padding will be 10 pixels. Margin will be 0 at auto. The background color will be 585858. The border radius will be 5 pixels, and the box shadow will be inset 0, 0 to 20 pixels, and RGBA will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.22. Okay. And the color will be FFF. Okay. Now we'll have the data name. The margin will be 0, 0, 5 pixels, and the data card will be font size 10 pixels. Let's save this. Alright, now at first let's go to the components index.js, and we are going to export it like we did PokeList. So export default as detail view from detail view. Save it. I need to go to the detail views index.js, and I did not actually export it, so I need to do that. Export default detail view. Save it. Alright, now it works fine. So now let's go to the app.js and import detail view here. And let's import it here, detail view, and see. Alright, so as you can see that the detail view comes and the list view has been pushed to the left. So this is basically the Pokedex. So now we are going to create some more functionalities where when you can click on these Pokemons, then the details of the Pokemon you clicked on will come on over here. So now let's work on that. So in this app.js, we are going to have a handle on click function. That is, when these buttons will be clicked, what will happen will be created right now. So first of all, let's create a function called handle on click, and let's pass ID here. For now, let's just keep it as console log ID. And here on the PokeList, we will have a handle on click. We will be doing a handle on click. Let's save it. Now here in the constructor, as you can see, what we're going to do is this dot handle on click equals to this dot handle on click dot bind this. Okay, let's save it here, and let's go to the index of the PokeList. So we will pass a prop here, handle on click, and here in the PokeCell we will do a handle on click, handle on click. Save it here, and now let's go to the PokeCell, the index of the PokeCell. Here we are going to pass with PokeClass another handle on click, and this, but for this button we will have an on click. We're going to do a function, arrow function, handle on click, and inside that we're going to pass PokeClass class 1. Let's save it. Let's close these things for now. And now let's create a helper. So inside the components, we are going to create just a single file, that is pokemon.js. Basically, this is going to be a Pokemon class with some of the information here. So basically, we will work on the name, ID, type, height, sprite, and weight. So for that, let's create the Pokemon class. Class Pokemon. Let's have a constructor and pass the data. So this .id equals to data.id this dot name equals data dot name. This dot sprite equals data dot sprites dot front default. This dot type equals data dot types 0 dot type dot name. This dot height equals data dot height. This dot weight equals data dot weight. And we will have to export default Pokemon. Let's save it. Alright. Now let's go to the index.js of the components. And likewise, we are going to export Pokemon as well. So export default as Pokemon. From Pokemon. Save. Alright. Now let's go to the app.js. And now we will write the functionality in the handle on click. So we will just remove this and we will write fetch. And I'm going to copy and paste it here. Okay, so as you can see that by the ID that is being passed from clicking the button, with that ID, the details of the Pokemon will come. Okay. Dot then response dot JSON dot then data const Pokemon equals new Pokemon. In it we are passing data, and with that we can catch error console log error. Okay, now with that we need to add an item in the state, so we will add Pokemon like this and save. So for this we are going to set the state, that is this dot set state Pokemon, and save it. Now let's go to the detail views index.js here, and now let's retrieve the data. So here we are passing the Pokemon prop. Okay, for the image it will be sprite, and let's have an alt text. Let's go for sprite. For the H1 let's have an ID of ID, and then we will pass the name. Then in the first p tag we will have the type, so we will write type. Then here we will have the height, and finally here we will have the weight. And save. So as you can see that it says that these are not defined, so we need to define this here. So after this, just before return, we need to write const ID name type sprite height and weight. This belongs to the Pokemon class. And save. Let's go to the app.js, and here with the detail view let's pass Pokemon this dot state dot Pokemon. Save it. Alright, so there you go, we don't have the error anymore. So what you can see here is like we have the structure. So if I click on any of the Pokemon, you can see that now it's being rendered. So if I refresh, you can see it like this. But the thing that bothers me is like this sort of looks empty when you load the page, but I don't want it to be empty. So that's why I want it to have the default value of Bulbasaur, as it is the first Pokemon, that is the Pokemon with the ID 1. So we will by default use the details of Bulbasaur here. So for that, what we need to do is in app.js, if you scroll up and here in the constructor, in this .state, so let's do something for that. The ID is 1. The name is Bulbasaur. Then the type will be grass. The weight will be 69. The height will be 7. And for the sprite, we need to copy and paste. Okay, so basically this is the sprite, the image of Bulbasaur, as you can see, with the ID of 1, and let's save it. Okay, so by default, if you can see, the React application has auto restarted. So let's refresh again and let's see what we get. So as you can see that we already have, this is by default, the details of Bulbasaur and the image of Bulbasaur, and we have the list here. So whenever we click on anything, like you can see Beedrill here, if I click on that, you can see the details of Beedrill are loaded. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger so that it's easier for you to see. And maybe if you see Pidgeot, if I click on that, you can see the image, the details of Pidgeot. And if I go for Fearow, you can see the same. If I go for Sandslash, you can see the same. So basically, that's what we were supposed to do, and that's what we made. So we have created our own Pokedex. Well, basically that's it for the video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you liked it, then please like this video, leave a thumbs up, then comment on what you thought about this and share it with your community. And I would ask you to try it yourself and then find out like how it works and create your own Pokedex. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever you upload a new video, you'll be notified immediately. And it will also help me to rank in the algorithm of YouTube so that more and more people can see my videos. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.